सम्मानीय उपाध्यक्ष राज्यसभा श्री हरिवंश जी, हमारे पूर्व कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी और झारखंड के गवर्नर श्री प्रभात कुमार जी, श्री महेश कपूर जी, श्री शांति नारायण जी, देवी और सज्जनों, I must express my deep gratitude to Prabhat Kumar ji for his kind invite and giving me this opportunity to pay my profound tributes to the sacred memory of Loh Purush, who laid the foundation of a strong and united India, an achievement without parallel in our thousands-year-long history. Of the makers of modern India, he is one of the most prominent. His passionate patriotism, robust realism, fearless courage, and organizing ability were mainly responsible for the emergence of united India. It is because of Sardar Patel that we say with pride that we are Indians, citizens of the largest democracy in the world. The Sardar was a man of few words and great deeds, and it is that we have to remember. What he expected from us was to continue the task of rebuilding our nation with all dedication, devotion, and sincerity. We may look upon his life in three parts: a devoted freedom fighter, ready to make any sacrifice to liberate his motherland; a statesman who was clear in his mind that the unification of politically fragmented India must be realized at the initial stage itself. Otherwise, the country may be balkanized. And third, a competent and visionary administrator. Until we attained freedom, he was a disciplined soldier carrying out the behest of his leader, Mahatma Gandhi. Even when he differed with him, with his master, he sank his views and merely carried out the wishes of the general. He proved by example that only those who know how to obey really know how to command. The Bardoli Satyagraha, the civil disobedience movement, integration of states, they are all there standing as witnesses to the great qualities which he possessed. The greatest of all was his disciplined behavior. But even more important part of his work was as a statesman. Immediately after the achievement of freedom, in a period of just 2 years, by skillful handling, by persuasive power, he integrated over 562 states into the Indian Union, and if I remember correctly, they constituted almost 48% of Indian landmass. The great Shankaracharya, who was born in Kalari in Kerala in last millennium, is credited with making India culturally and spiritually united. This unity created common moral and ethical values, and based on them, an Indian way of life. This unity ensured the continuity of our culture despite very adverse circumstances, and lack of political unity deprived us of the strength to protect our freedom and our way of life, our values. They faced crisis. In modern times, it was Sardar Patel who had the vision to translate the cultural and spiritual unity created by Shankaracharya into political and national solidarity. He laid the foundation of India that will have requisite strength to protect and preserve its way of life and ability to build a modern and progressive country on that foundation. What this country would have been without such integration is hard to imagine. Even after this irrevocable integration, more than 7 decades ago, we still can hear the discordant voices, divisive mindset, seeking to project communal or caste identities above the national identity and fan separatist tendencies in the name of province or region, and trying to build walls between various states of India. If we are sincere in our tribute to the memory of the great Sardar, then it is our obligation, our dharma, to exercise utmost vigilance to protect and strengthen our national unity and integrity, and deal firmly with both the threats from within and without, and those who seek to vitiate and pollute our social and national life. About the achievements of Sardar Sahab, just now Harivansh ji has quoted our first president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad ji, but even those who ruled over us. The London Times, after his death, wrote a tribute in which they said, this peaceful integration of 562 princely states will stand out as a great historic achievement by Sardar Patel, on a level with Bismarck, if not higher. We have therefore in Sardar Patel a great courageous freedom fighter, a wise statesman, and a model administrator. If we remember these inspiring qualities of Vallabhbhai Patel, then there is no doubt that our country will soon gain its rightful place in the comity of nations. Unity and strength, these are the qualities which help us to overcome any obstacles, overcome any dissonance from within and dangers from without. These are the things which we have to cultivate if we remember Sardar Patel's life. I hope all of us who have assembled here, who have read and listened to the life story of Sardar Patel, would agree that fidelity to the ideal and sensitivity to the actual was the principle that governed his life. He always acted in a manner that the principle of his action became a general rule for others to emulate. The interaction of the two, the ideal and the actual, secured emergence of united India that we see today, and more this unity is consolidated, more strength we would acquire to realize the dreams of our freedom fighters. I am emphasizing this because now we have, as our Honorable Prime Minister has repeatedly said, we have celebrated Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and now we have entered into the Amrit Kal, where we wish to, we have this desire and this wish that when we turn 100, then the dreams of our freedom fighters who made supreme sacrifices without any hope that they will see the independence, they made all kinds of sacrifices so that the dreams which they had seen can become a reality. In Indian tradition, when I think of Sardar Patel, and earlier also I had this, it was an honor for me to speak on Sardar Patel at his ashram in Bardoli, not just once, but twice. And whenever I think of him, the first time when I went there, then it took me some time to read his biographies and other material on him. And more I read about him, I listen to stories of his life, then a word comes to my mind from our ancient tradition. The word is Dheer Purush. The Dheer are men and women who cultivate the qualities of justice and compassion and are strong, stable, and peaceful with a robust sense of moral and ethical values. These qualities develop when one accepts the basic principle of divine nature of man as Atma, as outlined by Vedanta. Then a new focus of human freedom, dignity, equality, and redemption are built into their persons, waiting only to be unfolded and discovered. It is through such women and men alone does a society become just and grow to its full potential. Bhartari Hari, in his famous Niti Shatak, this is how he has described the Dheers. Nindantu niti nipun yadiva istuvantu, Lakshmi sama vistu gachatu va yatheshtam, Adya deva maranamastu va maranamastu, Yugantareva, Nyay Yat Pathat, Pirvi Chalanti, Padam Nadhira. This is how Bhartari Hari has described them. Let jurists, those who know things, let them blame or praise me. Let Lakshmi come or go away as she pleases. Let death come just now or after 100 years. The Dheers never deviate an inch from the path of Nyaya. And what is the source of this extraordinary strength of the Dheers? Is it physical power, Bahubal? No. Is it money power? Arthik bal? No. Is it intellectual power, Buddhi bal? No. They are all important. But more important is what in our tradition has been described as Atm bal, Naitik bal, Yog bal, the moral or spiritual power, the common inheritance of all mankind. It is not any esoteric or magical power, but the strength of character and conviction driving from the unfolding of the divine in the heart of man. The divinity that dwells inside everybody. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The Kena Upanishad proclaims that this Atmbal, this power, this energy, this strength is acquired through the knowledge of self, the Atma. Atmana vindate viryam. It is the knowledge of the self. Yoma pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati. One who is able to see the self in all and all in the self. That is the source of that moral strength, spiritual strength. It is these Dheers who have power and potential to take the nation on the path of power and glory. And if I use the words of Swami Vivekananda, he has described this phenomena as the manifestation of divinity that already exists in every human being. And that is because we are Indians, therefore we have a universal vision. Because our culture is not defined either by the race or faith tradition or the way we offer our devotion to the deity or the language which we speak. But our culture has been, our civilization has been defined by the Atma. Totally inclusive paradigm, which does not exclude anybody. And that is the reason why Indian culture does not view a person in terms of the variable and alienable characteristic associated with the birth. Rather, it views a person in terms of invariable and inalienable characteristic, that is Atma, the soul. It has been many a times, because this lecture is on the subject of administration. So there is a Platonic axiom that says that philosophers, the thinkers, should be the rulers. And this is very popular. They should rule the state. But our own tradition says, which is older than the Platonic thought. Our own tradition says, Atm Kriya Atmarati Kriyavan Esha Brahma Vidam Varishta. That one who is trying to realize the Supreme Spirit, he is not supposed to go and live in the forest. He must be Kriyavan. He must live an active life. He must engage with the society. And this comes from Mundok Upanishad. Similarly, it is said elsewhere, Viveki sarvada mukta, kurvato nasti kartirta, alepa vadam ashrita, Shri Krishna Janako Yatha. That even Lord Krishna and King Janak, who was the fountainhead of wisdom, even they were not just thinkers or just meditating and reflecting on the issues, but they were people of action. So, we can say that this axiom is something which is common to all great cultures. Actually, the men of vision, the thinkers, the philosophers, they have a duty to transform that vision into reality by efforts and dedicated work. That is exactly what our Sardar did. There are politicians, I really feel slightly irritated when even in parliament I hear that please rise above party politics. This is something very important. Humanitarian or national interest is involved, as if politics in itself is a dirty job. The politicians themselves are appealing to each other. Please rise above politics. No, that is not the Indian concept of politics. The Indian concept of politics is sarve tyaga raj dharmeshu drishta. Sarve diksha raj dharmeshu yukta. Sarve vidya raj dharmeshu chokta. Sarve loka raj dharme pravishta. The Indian concept of politics is, if you want to be in public life, then our tradition tells us that it is in politics that highest forms of renunciation, one should be ready to make supreme sacrifice. Unless you have found something, a cause which you consider greater than yourself, there is no reason why you should enter into public life. And for that cause, you should be ready to make supreme sacrifice. And only when you have all sacraments you have gone through, you have tapa swadhyaya niritam, you have devoted yourself to the pursuit of knowledge. Not that anybody can acquire all the knowledge. No, but dedication to the acquisition of knowledge. And you should develop the capability to look at all people with same-sightedness. Abhinnayin chakshusha. Then only you become entitled to enter into public affairs and pursue what we call politics. In the context of the administration, I will say, although rightly so, governance is considered to be a complex subject. But the Indian tradition has made it so simple. All complexity is lost. According to Indian traditions, we have 4 ashrams. Brahmacharya, that is the period which you spend pursuing knowledge. Then Grihastha, then 2 others. And Grihastha is the ashram which is considered most important, because the other 3 ashrams depend totally on the Grihastha ashram. And our tradition tells us how to live Grihastha, which includes administration, which includes governance. And the tradition says, Brahma Nishto, Girhastha, Syat Tattva Gyan Parayana, Yad Yat Karma Pirkirvita, Tad Brahmani Samarpayet. You have to live your practical life after Brahmacharya when you enter into practical life. And I would say this governance, not only those who are in the government as an administrator, but you may be in a private company, you may be anywhere, the quality which has to be cultivated has been described in these 2 lines. Brahma Nishtho Girhastha, the householder shall have his life established in the supreme truth shall pursue the deeper truth of all things, and in all activities of life dedicate his work to the eternal being. Okay. If I am doing my work, I feel the presence of that supreme being all the time. And whatever work I do with the spirit as if I am offering devotion to the deity in which I believe. Is there any way that you will deviate from the path? Is there any way that you will step on the feet of the other person? And we should remember that another very powerful line from Upanishad that says, Saksharo vipri tatve rakshaso bhavati dhurvam. A person may be very learned, but if he lacks sense of moral and ethical values, then he runs the risk of being degenerated into a demon, into a brute. It has made so simple that if you, that does not come merely through official training. It comes through your sanskars. And the training you receive at home, training which you receive from your teachers, from the society. But that sense of moral values must guide us. And in the context of the administration, I would like to say that Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, in one of his, he has written in one of his essays that India cannot attain true independence unless it is recognized that her foundation is in mind, which with its diverse powers and confidence in those powers goes on all the time creating Swaraj for itself. India's genius is intellectual power. When the Renaissance had not really taken off in Europe, much before that, we were recognized by the world as knowledge destination. You refer to the books which were written in 10th and 11th centuries. That is the time when Renaissance had not yet started in Europe. Refer to the Arab historians. Refer to the Ibn Kasir, Tabri, Ibn Kasir, Ibn Asir, any one of them. First chapter, 9 volumes, 8 volumes, 7 volumes. And first chapter is mostly devoted to India. And what they say, the world has, America was not discovered by that time. So they say, there are only 5 civilizations in the world. The Persian civilization is known for its majesty, Roman for their beauty, Chinese for their craftsmanship and obedience to the rulers, Turks for their bravery, and India is the only civilization which is known for promotion of knowledge and wisdom, Gyan and Pragya. And in fact, they were not the first to say so. You must have heard. There's a line which is an Urdu poem, which says, Mere Arab ko aayi thandi hawa jahan se. Mere Arab means Holy Prophet. So when I was a child, I read this. I thought India has been a very spiritual country. So Prophet felt some good vibes for me. So when I read the actual text, it says, Ajidu rihal ilmi min biladil Hind. I am feeling the cool breeze of knowledge coming from land of India. That is our genius. But long period of slavery somewhere has eroded our self-confidence, has created problems for us. And unless others recognize the potential of India and Indians, we are not ready to believe it. Now, since last few years, the whole world has started talking about India. And therefore, we are also acquiring that kind of confidence. No, we were the first in the world to become knowledge destination. And what our sages, our thought leaders, our rishis had envisioned. Etat desha parshu tasya sakashad agraj anmana swam swam charitram shiksheram prithviyam sarvam anava. India, they envisioned an India where people belonging to different civilizations and culture will come to study their own culture and civilization. They will come to India, not to study Indian culture and civilization. Swam swam charitram shiksheram prithviyam sarvam anava. They will come to study. What does that mean? It means that we will have such erudite and capable teachers who will attract an Arab to come to India to study Islam. Somebody from Europe coming to study European civilization or Christianity. And we should not forget that this, even for matter, Christianity. Our Christianity is 300 years older than the European Christianity. We, as Swami Vivekananda said, I have great sense of pride that I belong to a country which has sheltered all persecuted people and races in the world. We received them with open arms. When the Jews were persecuted when the temple of Solomon was destroyed, when it became difficult for the Parsis to live in their own country, and Christians came to us in the first century itself. So this is our heritage. I think if we become more familiar with our own heritage, with our own legacy, and we try to know it little more, then I am confident that most of the problems that we are facing, whether in the field of governance or other related fields, I think it will become much easier for us to overcome these problems. And that, to my mind, will be a great tribute to great Sardar Patel. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.